Hey, this is Marques Ogden with Ogden Ventures LLC. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. We're at episode 266 with my boy, former NFL lineman, coach, speaker, extraordinaire. He's all about mindset and that being the concrete undertone to your success. I'm blown away by this interview. He got a free football giveaway at the end, signed by Marques, and it's just a fantastic human being, an absolute beast, not just physically but mentally. Break out your notebook, sit back, relax, because here comes my really good friend Marques Ogden from Ogden Ventures LLC. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and we're coming up on the end of the year, man, and I got a mad treat. Someone that, you've heard me interview Jed Collins, a couple other, people that played for the Shield, for the NFL. And I got somebody with a monster following, awesome, fantastic speaker, Mr. Marques Ogden. He grew up in a single parent home with a father that inspired perseverance and fairness, which I think that's awesome. A father that inspired perseverance and fairness. Marques Ogden learned how to define his values and set goals. Ogden attended Howard University from 98 to 2002, where he played Division I football. He then followed his dream and his brother Jonathan's footsteps, eventually getting drafted into the NFL in 2003. Overall, he played for 5 years as an offensive lineman with the Titans, Bills, Ravens, and Jaguars. Even during the offseason, Ogden helped train football players in Europe, both physically and mentally. And also, I want you to go to his, after we're done, go to his YouTube channel. He has like super short 1-minute clips that will level you up. And the one that I loved, and it's actually the last clip. It's not that I just watched that one. I watched like 20 of them. But if you can't pivot, you can't shine. And we're time to shine here. So that's what we want to do, is we want to help you level up. So Jonathan, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Red. I've always loved red, Scott, from day one. It's just always been my color.
Yeah. I'm terrible. I should know this, but is that any of that red in Howard University at all?
No, it's not.
No? Okay.
Howard's all blue and white. We're blue
is it?
and
Okay.
white.
Gotcha.
Yep. But my high school, St. John's, was scarlet and gray. So there was a lot of red in St. John's College High School. I went to high school and played football.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's awesome to have someone, of your credentials and somebody that is going to help my squad, our listeners, level up, man. I've been stoked to have you come on. And my good friend, Jason Holzer, I'm going to throw a shout out to him. He kind of connected us here. And Marques, let's get to just some of the origins. You're raised by a single father. And correct. Again, I don't see color, brother, at all. That's just not how I'm raised. But man, you were raised by a single black man, correct?
Correct.
That is freaking awesome, dude. I'm sorry. There's a stigma that's going on out there. I want to first applaud Mr. Ogden himself for what he did, because he raised two phenomenal young men. But we'll leave it there. But can you give us a little bit of your upbringing and then kind of getting through, the school, the college, and then maybe playing for the Shield, and what got you into what you're doing now by helping people take their lives to the next level?
Yeah, so I'm from Washington, D.C., went to St. John's College High School in Northwest D.C., same high school that Kevin Plank, who started and founded Under Armour, went to. Got one scholarship offer to go to Howard University. Went to Howard University, played for the Bison. My dad also was a Howard University football player back in the 60s and 70s, so I carried on that bloodline. And I love college, Scott. I was a 4-year starter at offensive tackle, and I played center the last 6 games of my senior year. And I wanted to be an investment banker, wanted to work on Wall Street. I interned at Merrill Lynch my junior year of college, loved it. But the NFL had different plans for me. Went to the Hula Bowl, and I had a really great game. A couple names you're going to know. Mac Brown was my head coach for my team.
Texas, yeah.
My quarterback was Cliff Kingsbury.
He's head coach at Arizona now, right?
That's correct.
Okay, got it.
That was my head coach. I'm sorry, that was my quarterback on my team. So I had a great Hula Bowl, and then being drafted into the National Football League by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jack Del Rio, who is now the Washington football team defensive coordinator, was my rookie head coach.
Right.
Loved the NFL, lots of great players. I played with guys like my brother, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Fred Taylor, guys like Willis McGahee,
Spruggs,
Suggs, phenomenal athletes. Played with guys like Kyle Vanden Bosch, Albert Hainsworth. And I was coached by great guys like Jack Del Rio, Brian Billett, Mike Malarkey, Dick Duran, and of course, Jeff Fisher. The NFL taught me how to be my own CEO and take control of my life, because even though I was an employee of the teams, right, Scott, I still was my own person, my own brand, and I had to act accordingly moving forward to get where I wanted to get in my life after the NFL.
Your own brand, that hits hard, man, because a lot of people want to go out there and mimic other people, and you're your own brand for your. It seems like you probably always had that dream of playing in for how do I say this? The whole concept of it kind of coming back at you after the Hula Bowl and you're actually realizing that dream. Can you tell us a little bit more and go a little bit deeper on that?
Yeah, so I wanted to always play football as far as I could and go as far as I could. So for me, it was really about the ability to show and prove to myself, right, Scott, I could do it. So when you get only one scholarship offer at the very end of your high school recruiting process, you don't think you're going to be an NFL athlete. I mean, that's just not what you should be thinking about. You should be thinking about trying to go to college, get an education, do what you got to do.
Sure.
Well, for me, when I became a starter as a freshman, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm the only freshman with all seniors on offensive line. We had a lot of great guys in that league and played well and did well. And then sophomore year got better, junior year got better. And then right before my senior year, Scott, I started seeing my name in NFL, draft books and magazines and all this type of stuff. And then I called my brother's agent, asked him what he thought about it. I said, Marcus, people are eyeing you. Go into your last year, give it your all. Wow. That's what I did. Had a great senior year. Luckily for me, God was watching out, and he brought into my life Coach Keith Camaforo, who was our strength coach. That was the first time Howard ever got a strength coach, was my last year. And he helped me train for the combine, train for my pro days, get my strength up, my speed up, my weight up. And I went to the Hula Bowl. My agent, Marvin Demoff, who had my brother and some other big name people, got me in to the Hula Bowl. And I had a great game. And from there, I was on everybody's draft board and I got drafted. I'm still today, Scott, the first, and I'm still the only offensive lineman ever drafted from Howard University to the National Football League.
Really? I never knew
tackles, corners, quarterbacks, running backs, but I'm the only O-lineman drafted to the National Football League from Howard.
Wow. And as you go through, I've been wanting to ask people like yourself or Jeff Saturday or people that were 320, 330. And what are you walking around at right now?
About 265. 270.
Okay. So what is your identity now with that, man? Because let me explain this. I grew up skinny kid, right? Like, I was scrappy. I wrestled, pretty damn good wrestler. I was scrappy, but then I went in the Navy and I did my deed, had to do what I had to do, and everybody's lifting. Got big, man. I'm walking around right now at 260, 6'1", 260. Big guy, but I still have that skinny man mentality, right? How about you? Like, is it different as you're coming down?
Yeah, it's different because you realize that you're not the size that you used to be, but also you have to also understand the job that you did required you to be a certain size so you could do it efficiently and effectively and not get hurt. So when I played, man, I mean, you had guys on the other side of the ball, Albert Hainsworth, 360, Vince Wolford, close to 400 pounds, Tim Bowen, Sam Adams. You had John Henderson, Marcus Stroud. I mean, you had just juggernaut defensive tackles. Even you had some pretty big DNs like Kevin Carter, Michael Strahan that were big and fast and agile.
Yeah, all those dudes, yeah.
Reggie White, So the game called for a certain level of size to do it effectively and be able to mentally and physically endure a season.
Right.
Especially when I was playing, there was a lot more running the football than it was today.
Sure.
Today is a lot more pass-happy league, and you're seeing linemen get a little bit smaller, a little bit more agile, but I feel what's hurting the game is lack of being able to have contact in practice during training camp. And you're getting a lot of injuries, nicks, guys out. Look at guys like Christian McCaffrey. He's just never healthy. Great football player,
right?
Can't stay healthy.
Right.
So is that going to be his legacy? A great player that couldn't stay healthy.
Right.
And I feel not hitting in practice, Scott, is making these things a lot harder for players to be able to get their timing down, their patterns down.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the game today is so much different.
I love that. And that's really leveling up at the practice. And it's just kind of coming back now to where they're trying to protect people's health and whatnot. But let me ask something. As you go through and you started your coaching business, what really got that started, first of all? And I have some follow-up questions I've been wanting to ask you for the last 3 weeks. Like, how did we roll into that?
So the coaching business started after my speaking business started to pick up. Started speaking in September 2013 after I had my bankruptcy, lost my home, both cars repossessed in the same day, lost everything. And I ended up working at Merrill Lynch for a short time, got fired, went to a construction company the next day, fired 5 days later, so fired twice in the same week, took a job as a custodian making $8.25 an hour on the graveyard shift. I had my rock bottom moment of clarity, Scott, where someone's trash, rotten meat, nasty protruding garbage covered my body, my skin, and my clothes. That was my wake-up call. And I decided to launch my speaking business. 2.5 years, didn't elevate one time, not one paid job. And looking back on it, Scott, I was all about trying to get the sale, not about building relationships. And I came across desperate from a position of scarcity. And because of that, no one hired me. Got my first paid job, April 2016. I've been getting coached by other people, learning the craft. And in the last now almost 6 years, we worked for 30 Fortune 500 companies as a speaker. 30. And the coaching evolved because I was speaking on stage, doing a lot of inspirational and giving people action steps talks. And people wanted more from the audience. They wanted more follow-up. They wanted more than just an hour talk or a 2-hour workshop. So that was the real catalyst that launched my coaching or our coaching business.
I love that. And I love that you took responsibility, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like my coach that coaches me, and that I coach some highly influential people myself. And I'm like, listen, man, the responsibility is the ability to respond. And when you're getting paid that $8.25 an hour, you were taking responsibility for your time. But I understand, underneath that you were more than that. And I think that once you took that responsibility, you leveled up. Am I saying it a little bit correctly?
You're saying 100% correctly. Once I took full accountability for my mistakes with my construction company, Caden, stopped blaming my partner, the developer, the contractor, my employees. Once I looked at the person in the mirror and saw Marques Ogden was the culprit, he was the one that made the mistakes. And if he's going to get things going again, he has to take full responsibility and accountability and move forward. That's what I did. And that's how, again, it's been, and I tell you, it's not going to happen overnight. Like I started September 2013, Scott, first paid job, April 2016. Here we are we're in December 2021, and now 30 Fortune 500 clients we've worked for. But it didn't come overnight, but it started with a time to shine today, that day on the curb with my head in my hands crying, saying, if I'm going to get my life back, I got to shine today and stop blaming everybody from the past.
I love it. That's what I have a similar story that got sought out by Oprah and Sally Jessy Raphael and all those talk shows in the 90s. And it was when I took responsibility and ownership is when I started to, shine myself. That's awesome, man. So when you're working with people and clients and you're maybe starting to bring them in, what is any of your secret sauce there, Marques, that you help them find their blind?
So the biggest thing we work on, Scott, is mindset and getting them to understand that it starts and ends with them. A lot of people want help on marketing or sales, how to become a better speaker, how to grow into a position in your organization, how to grow a business. but I tell all of our clients there's three main principles of a successful business. You're going to have operational excellence, quality product, and excellent customer service. But before those three things can be foundationally put into the ground to start building up, your mindset is like the concrete that sets the foundation. If you don't have a strong mindset, I call it bend but never break mindset, I feel you'll never hit success. Every successful person has gone through something. You've gone through something. Oprah was told she'd never succeed. Damon John was told he would never have a successful business. Mark Cuban ate ketchup packets. Bill Gates got turned down by like 530 some investors before he got with Microsoft. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple. I mean, the list goes on and on. So the mindset has to be one that is going to be the concrete of the foundational undertone that you build everything else up from.
Love it. That's 100% true. You have the mindset as your foundation. So when you're starting to work with companies or even individuals one-on-one, Marques, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Yeah, I wish they would ask me, what are my three biggest strengths? Because I tell everyone, every first client call I have with somebody, when I onboard a new client for that first call, tell me your story. What are your three biggest strengths? What are the three things you want to improve upon most? Now, notice, Scott, I always start with, what are your three biggest strengths? I want you in the mindset of what you do well.
Yeah.
Then, Marques, did you focus on your strengths or your weaknesses? I said, focus on your strengths. Yeah. If you're continuing to get strong at your strengths, your weaknesses can improve. For example, love speaking, podcasting. I'm always working on my craft. I used to really suck at technology, like how to set like a visual background for myself on Zoom, or how to do PowerPoints while I'm doing things on Zoom, right? Well, because I'm speaking more, doing more webinars, doing more virtual interaction with people, I've gotten better at how to operate Zoom and technology because I've been focusing on my strength of speaking, which has helped me get better at my weakness of stinking at technology.
Right. Reps, baby. Got to do the reps. So how about this, though? Is there any good question that you wish your student, we'll call them your student, your client, would ask you, but never do it?
I wish they would ask me, Scott, what are my strengths?
Oh, your strength. Got it. Okay. So you answered it correctly. I love it.
No one ever does. And
I love it.
Feel if they know what my strengths are, they'll understand how I reverse engineered backwards towards my new passion, my new career.
So Marques, to what extent do you appreciate your limitations?
Very much so. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I suck at. So for example, I suck at videography. I have an amazing videographer. I pay him per job. I stink at like creating picture images and stuff for social media. My content strategist, she's amazing. I'm horrible at website, SEO.
Me too.
I got my website guy. I don't know how to trademark something. So I've got a trademark and patent guy in Cleveland that helps me. So what I've learned, Scott, is how to delegate tasks to the right team members.
The most successful and smartest people are the ones that delegate and find someone smarter than them in that version of what you need to make happen, your video or whatnot, to level you up. I'm the exact same way. And Donnie's over here laughing at me because he knows I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for him to the extent I am.
And that's why Caden, my construction company, failed. I tried to micromanage everyone and I tried to do everything myself, or try to have everything done with me micromanaging all of my leaders. That's why I failed. And I'll never make that mistake again.
And you won't. And that's awesome that you're learning on the fly as well. And it's not pausing too long because it's just like every play is within itself. You know, I'm a student of Trevor Moed, unfortunately passed away, at Limitless Minds and whatnot, but I've studied under him. And it's like, neutral thinking is what all you guys under the shield really do, because every play is different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you have a shitty play, you missed a block, but guess what? You got the next one that's in front of you, man, and always pushing through. So I got to ask you something, man. Have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Of course.
Okay. Let's get in that DeLorean with Marty. let's go back to the double deuce, the 22-year-old Marques. What kind of knowledge nuggets, we call him here at Time to Shine today, what kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on him to make him, help him maybe shorten the learning curve, level up, or blast through just a little bit quicker?
I would have told my 22-year-old self to hire a mindset coach. Plain and simple, because I needed somebody to help me push through my hard times, adjusting to the National Football League, adjusting to the speed, the level of play. I need somebody to help me adjust to life beyond the gridiron, like how to be more responsible, how to really focus on investing and taking my money and making it work for me at a young age. Now, I know how to do that now, but at a young age, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the values of 401ks, IRAs, Roths. I didn't understand how to put money to the side for later. I wanted my money in my account to look at.
Now, yeah.
That's not the way to be. So Marques at 22, if I'm going back in that DeLorean, I'm telling him, or I'm making him, more better word, hire a coach, mindset, and a business coach to help him prepare for a life as he matures and gets into how to use the NFL and the platform to develop a business, something, again, because the business I got into, Scott, I should have never been in construction.
Right.
I know about, I was just chasing money. So
you were.
And a business coach would say, Marques, great idea, wrong industry. Let's try here. Let's try there.
Yeah.
But because I had no one to lean on, Scott, I made some really bad mistakes, had a lot of success in the beginning.
Sure.
Eventually it caught up with me and I lost everything.
Yeah. And you were chasing, like you said, the paper instead of service and servicing people, man, which is incredibly important. So I got a question for you. How do you want your dash remembered? I actually got this from Ray. Okay, Lewis. How do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date, your expiration date, your life date, and your death date on your tombstone. How do you want Marques's dash remembered?
Inspire people to take accountability. That's what I want people to know me for. The guy who owned his mistakes and the guy that helped you succeed where he failed and helps you be inspired to take accountability, to take command of your own journey and your own destiny.
Love it, man. That's you can't ask for nothing more than that, man. Absolutely. Just own it, take responsibility, the ability to respond. I love this conversation. So what do people misunderstand the most about Marques?
They think Marques, at times, it's gotten so much better, but sometimes people think Marques talks a lot about football in his presentations. Not the case. I spoke to the Ohio State University athletes 3 weeks ago in Columbus, and one of the coaches wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to talk a lot about football and the good old days because that wouldn't relate to the athletes. And I told one of the other coaches, I said, that's about a 30 to 45 second part of my talk is the NFL. That's it. At the other hour, I'm going to be up there. It's going to be business, my life, stories, metaphors to help these young athletes see how to put themselves where I was so they can be smarter and better than me. And that was well received in Ohio. The Ohio State loved the talk. As a matter of fact, I'm now in talks with the University of Michigan about coming to talk to their athletes in the winter. And
I love it, man. I'm from Detroit, bro, and I'm a Sparty fan. So when both of those teams lose, I'm good. I'm a Michigan State guy, man, through and through. Mel Tucker, I hope he signs that contract, bro. I hope he gets it. Like, there's spot to make him one of the highest paid college football coaches to keep him there, because I'm just glad that LSU didn't snake him and stuff like that, because what he was doing for my Sparty, that's awesome. It's awesome that you also can use the Shield as cred for you, but I listen and I've watched a lot of your content that's out there, and you don't throw that out there, which shows humility at the same time is really helping people level up. So, Marques, what keeps you up at night, man?
Just continuing to have balance in my life and never forget that my family is the most important, and just always being there for my wife. And, I'm 41 right now. And so I'm still young side of my career and all
You're
that.
young buck, baby.
But still, you want to but time flies. I remember when we first got here in 2013, struggling. I was 32 years old, no money, no direction. We had, my stepdaughter was here, not my birthday wasn't even here yet. And just trying to make ends meet. Now we're into a new home that we just bought. We're settling in here. It's really nice and business is great and things are
awesome.
On the move. But I need to always just remember to keep my family first, especially my wife, because my wife stayed with me, right, Scott, through my bankruptcy.
Ride her down, baby.
She stayed through everything. We met in July 2012. I started my bankruptcy proceedings in March 2013, and she stayed with me the whole time.
That's like my lady, man, Susan. She's been there, ride or die, man, and do anything for her. That keeps me up at night as a little bit as well. Make sure everything's provided for and cared for. So what is Marcus's definition of a life well lived?
Helping people accomplish the best version of themselves, or a better way of putting it, helping people turn their goals into accomplishments. Goals are what we want to do. Accomplishments, Scott, are what we have done. Goals are extremely important. People pay you for your service based off your accomplishments. So helping people turn their goals into accomplishments, Scott, that is what I want to be, my lifelong, journey.
Dude, you're the plan man. That's what I'm going to call you now, because, Herm Edwards said one time, a goal without a plan is a wish.
Yep.
You're the plan man, dude. I swear that you said exactly how I would say to people as well, because you can have all the goals you want, man, but you got to have that path and you got to have that plan, bro. If not, like Herm said, it's a wish. Yeah. And that's fantastic, man. So, hey, time to shine today. Podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. We got Marques Ogden, speaker, coach, extraordinaire, also starting lineman there in the NFL in his past life. But I've been so stoked to have this interview, and we're going to level up, Marques, with our leveling up lightning round here. You and I could talk an hour, probably 2 hours in each one of these questions, but you got 5 seconds with no explanations. You ready to level up?
Go.
Let's do it. Marques, what's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Learn how to be an active listener.
Hell yeah. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Going to the gym every single day.
Love it. Other than your website, which I'm going to read it to our audience right now, which is Marques Ogden. It's MarquesOgden.com, MarquesOgden.com, or also timetoshinetoday.com, my shameless plug. What other website does Marques like to go to level up?
Marques has to go to Tony Robbins' website to get information.
My man. So if you see me and you're like, man, Fergie, he looks in his doldrums. He's just, dude, I got to approach him. What book would you be handing me?
Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success by Steve Harvey.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Love it. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Prayer hands.
Love it. Any nicknames growing up?
Scooter.
Awesome. And don't lie to me on this one, because you played for the Shield, and I know you feel it every morning. If you could stay one age physically for the rest of your life, continue to gain wisdom, and keep the knowledge you've garnered, what age would you stay physically?
25.
All right. Thank you for putting a 2 or a 3 on the front of that. A lot of people bullshit me on that. Awesome.
25 all day.
What was your New Year's resolution?
To lose weight and get healthier.
Love it. Chess or checkers?
Checkers.
My man. Favorite charity and organization you like to give your time or money to?
Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you for saying that, my man. This one you can elaborate a little bit, Marques, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I am totally a 90s guy. R&B, rap,
hip-hop,
classic rock. I mean, I'm totally a 90s guy. Bone Thugs and Harmony, Biggie, Tupac.
You got them all, man. See, I'm going to be 50, man. So I might be more with your brother in the 80s, right?
That's
so,
right.
I mean, 80s was revolutionary with Run DMC, LL Cool J, the pioneers of rap, right?
But you talk about B.I.G. and you talk about Tupac in the 90s.
Dude.
I mean, right there, that should just be it right there.
Yeah. Dude, if you come into my car when you come to South Florida, you're going to see 80s on 8 or 90s on 9. That's the only 2 channels I listen to, man. And then my dad gets in the car when he comes down from Alabama, and it's like country or something, which I don't mind. I love my dad, but he changes my stuff. So Marques, how can we find you, brother?
Go to our website, www.marques, M-A-R-Q-U-E-S, Ogden, O-G-D-E-N.com, or you can go to our LinkedIn, Marques Ogden, Twitter @Marques_Ogden, Facebook, Marques Ogden, and Instagram, Marques Ogden.
Love it. Love it. And Marques, and all of those will be in the show notes, squad. And I'm going to have a giveaway here if Marques doesn't mind. I'm going to buy a football and then have it sent to Marques. And if you don't mind Hancocking it for me, if you don't mind. I mean, again, I didn't even preface this.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to get it out to the first listener that says full responsibility in any of the posts. Full responsibility. It could be Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatnot. I'm going to have Marques send you by my dime a signed football from him to put on your mantle, because this man is going big, and I'm just so blessed to have him. Marques, do us one last favor and leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on.
One of my favorite quotes by a man I think everybody knows, Aristotle. In times of extreme darkness, focus on the light. It is so easy to really talk about everything negative. Everything is cloudy, gloomy. Human instinct a lot of times, unfortunately, is to not celebrate our wins, but good Lord, beat ourselves down when we fail.
I love it, man.
When I was going through my hard time, I focused on the glimmer of light, which was my father and his legacy.
Yes.
And it kept pushing out the darkness. And now today, my world's 98% light. And my father always comes in, his legacy, any type of, sadness or that, it's gone in an instant. So my life today is so much more light because in 2013, I focused on that light when 90% of my world was darkness.
I love that, man. And it's crazy because people will say, that, people laugh at me on the golf course. I'm not that good, but I'm positive all the time. Like, how far you, how'd that positive get you, and I'm like, it didn't get me a good score, but 100% of the time, but I'll tell you what gets you a good score. A bad score 100% of the time is negative. You know what it is, dude? 100%, man. That's why I stay neutral and get it going. And squad, you have just gotten a free masterclass from my good friend, Marques Ogden. He wants you to be your own CEO and take control of who your life is, who your brand is, and who you are. Marques is somebody that lived for the day, but he plans now to live forever and be a legacy to the people that he's passing on to. And he's doing that on a daily basis. He wants you to take full responsibility, the ability to respond. Like we say here at Time to Shine today, he wants you to take that responsibility, own your life, and get rocking and rolling. Mindset is the pillar, the bedrock. Everything starts and ends with a mindset. It sets the foundation to your operations, your quality product, and your excellent customer service. You can't have those three without that solid mindset of foundations. He wants you to ask your coach, and hopefully it's Marques or anybody else here in our Time to Shine Today squad of coaches, what their three strengths are. Where are they coming from? And also come to the table with your three strengths, because Marques says, listen, man, if you concentrate on your three strengths, your weaknesses can be worked through. Bottom line. He wants you to know what you're good at and what you suck at. And what you suck at, delegate. We'll just end it at that, because I talk about that all the time. He would have told his younger self, hire a mindset coach, hire a financial coach. If you're younger, get on the right road earlier. And like my good friend Leah Woodford will say, get your asking gear. Ask questions of people that have been there. If you're in the NFL, you're moving forward, ask the people that are on their second contracts, the people that are playing for the big money, how they do things in the morning. If you're in business, do the same thing. Ask someone that's been there. Get your asking gear and get rocking and rolling. He's someone that's inspired to people. He wants to be and he will be remembered as someone that inspired people to take accountability for themselves and their actions. He's going to be someone that metaphorically slid over home plate, bumped, bruised, but a freaking winner. And he wants you to he's going to be also remembered as someone that turns all goals into accomplishment. He's a plan man. Again, a goal without a plan is a wish. And again, he pulled from the Aristotle as far as back. You got to remember, we're all regurgitating stuff. I'm regurgitating stuff from Tony Robbins, who regurgitated from Earl Nightingale, to Wallace Waddles, all the way back to the starter, the OG, Aristotle. In the time of darkness, focus on the light. And that's exactly how Marques got out of his time. And he made himself time to shine. And Marques, I'm so blessed. You've earned your varsity squad letter here. Not that you need another one, but thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I love your guts.
Scott, appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Talk soon. Bye now. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate.
Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.